curious. Was pinup art just cheap entertainment for lonely soldiers? Or was it actually one of the most influential visual styles of the 20th century? And how did a young man from Peru become the artist whose paintings ended up on bomber planes, Playboy pages, and later sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars at auctions? The story of Alberto Vargas is much stranger and much more serious than people usually think. Alberto Vargas, born in 1896 and passing away in 1982, became one of the most famous American pinup artists in history. Pinup art, images of beautiful semi-nude or nude women, was hugely popular not only with soldiers and truck drivers, but eventually with anyone interested in visual culture and commercial art. Alongside Gil Elvgren, Vargas is considered one of the true classics of the genre, even though for a long time critics treated pinup like something unserious or lowbrow. Ironically, today original Vargas paintings sell for hundreds of thousands of dollars at major auctions. Not bad for just pinup girls. Vargas created his images using a combination of watercolor and airbrush techniques, which gave his paintings an incredibly soft and almost glowing quality. Some of the most beautiful actresses and models of the era posed for him, including Olive Thomas, Billie Burke, Nita Naldi, Jane Russell, Anne Sheridan, and Ruth Etting. But Vargas rarely copied their appearance exactly. Over time, he developed his own idealized beauty standard. His women had impossibly elegant figures, perfectly shaped legs, elongated fingers, delicate feet, everything slightly exaggerated to create maximum elegance and fantasy. One of the actresses most associated with that classic femme fatale look was Nita Naldi, a major silent film star famous for dangerous and seductive roles. But Vargas himself came from a very different world. His full name was Joaquin Alberto Vargas y Chavez, and he was born in Arequipa, Peru. His father, Max Vargas, worked as a portrait photographer. In his free time, he photographed Peruvian landscapes and painted scenery simply for pleasure. Growing up around cameras, paint, and images, Alberto became fascinated with art very early. At just 7 years old, he was already drawing caricatures and selling them to local newspapers. By age 10, he could handle photographic equipment almost as well as his father. Max Vargas earned enough money to send his son to study in Switzerland, and Alberto originally planned to become a professional photographer whose images would appear in the world's greatest publications. But then, World War I began. His father insisted he return home. On the way back, Vargas stopped in New York, and that moment changed his entire life. New York completely overwhelmed him. Compared to that city, his hometown of Arequipa suddenly felt like a quiet provincial corner of the world. New York felt alive, fast, creative, full of possibility. Within days, Vargas made the biggest decision of his life. He would stay in New York and try to build a career there. The problem was that New York already had plenty of photographers, so at first, Vargas survived by painting movie posters and theater decorations for film studios. The work wasn't glamorous, the pay was terrible, and artistic freedom barely existed. Still, some of those early projects became incredibly important for his future style. One example was his portrait of Olive Thomas, considered by many one of the most beautiful actresses of silent Hollywood. Another important work was a poster for the film The Sin of Nora Moran, featuring a semi-nude Zita Johann. You can already see the direction his art was moving toward. Then came the turning point. In the early 1940s, Vargas was invited to work with the famous men's magazine Esquire, which regularly published illustrations of glamorous women. That's where the legendary Vargas Girls were born. During World War II, these images became massively popular among American soldiers. Vargas Girls appeared everywhere, on bomber planes, tank turrets, posters in military barracks. The US military even officially spent money on pinup posters because they were believed to raise morale among troops. Alongside George Petty, Vargas became one of the most in-demand artists connected to wartime American culture. And for the first time in his life, he started making serious money from his art. But success brought problems. A legal battle began between Esquire and the US Postal Service. Conservative officials argued that the magazine's covers, often featuring Vargas illustrations, were too provocative and should only be mailed in sealed envelopes under the most expensive postal category. If that had happened, the magazine could have lost enormous amounts of money, and the price would have become too expensive for many young readers. The court battle lasted from 1943 to 1946. Esquire eventually won. But the controversy around Vargas's artwork made the magazine nervous, and management decided to fire him anyway, just to avoid future problems. For Vargas, life suddenly became difficult again. Work dried up. Money became tight. There were periods when he barely survived financially. Then, in 1960, everything changed again. Hugh Hefner, who knew Vargas from the Esquire days, invited him to work for Playboy. And this turned out to be the perfect moment for Vargas's style. By then, his illustrations had become much more daring than classic pinup art, but the world was changing too. The sexual revolution was beginning. Social attitudes were becoming more open. Suddenly, Vargas's adult pinup style felt modern instead of scandalous. Hefner once again promoted them as Vargas Girls, helping make the artist famous to a whole new generation. His works became highly collectible. He held exhibitions internationally. Collectors paid serious money for his paintings, and unlike many artists, Vargas actually experienced a happy old age, with recognition and financial success finally fully established. What makes Vargas important is not simply that he painted beautiful women. He proved that even a genre dismissed as lightweight entertainment could become serious art if approached seriously enough. Throughout his entire life, Vargas treated pinup not like a joke, but like a craft that demanded precision, discipline, elegance, and total dedication. And maybe that's why his work survived, while thousands of imitators disappeared. Thank you for being here and exploring the world of art together with us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your support genuinely matters. And if you'd like to support the channel even further, we're always grateful for donations that help us create more detailed videos.